esteemed Chancellor, Dr. Shyama Raju, the trustees, Pro-Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, Board of Governors, management, members of the faculty, students, alumni, and friends of REVA University. Good evening. Let me say a few words on Founders' Day. Founders' Day is more than a ceremonial marker. It is a moment of reflection, a pause in the life of an institution to ask why it was founded, what values animate its beginnings, and whether it still has the courage to honor that original vision. As Dr. Shyama Raju told us, universities do not arise by accident. They are indeed temples of journey, of learning. They are acts of belief. Belief that education must shape not only professional success, but judgment. Not only ambition, but responsibility. Universities exist because someone believed that knowledge is the greatest gift of all and must ultimately serve society. The definition of intelligence is that it is about learning. Universities exist to build, expand, and empower our innate human intelligence to drive the making of the modern world. Therefore, it is truly a privilege to be with you today on this occasion. Let me speak briefly on leadership in unsettled times such as ours. We live in an age that is increasingly anxious about leadership. Authority today is often loud, impatient, and performative. Strength is confused with force, with lung power, with showmanship, and the display of muscularity. Certainty is mistaken for wisdom. But leadership, as I have learned over a lifetime in public service, is something quieter and far more demanding. True leadership is not about dominating a room. It is about holding it, about listening carefully, reading context, understanding complexity, and knowing when restraint is wiser than action. Leadership is not the absence of doubt. It is the ability to act responsibly despite uncertainty. In a world marked by geopolitical conflict, technological disruption, climate stress, and democratic fragility, we do not need leaders who promise easy answers. We need leaders who can navigate ambiguity without losing their moral compass. This kind of leadership is not manufactured quickly. It is cultivated slowly through reading, reflection, debate, disagreement, and the discipline of clear thinking. That is why universities matter so profoundly. What is a woman's journey? Since I speak here as a woman, what does it reveal about power? This is not a personal narrative, but a way of understanding how power works. For many women, the journey through public life is rarely linear. It involves negotiation with expectations, with institutions, with invisible rules shaped long before women entered these spaces. Women in leadership are often required to demonstrate not only competence, but legitimacy. Authority comes with scrutiny. Ambition is interpreted cautiously. Errors linger longer. And yet, women persist. We must, we shall. Not because we seek exception or indulgence, but because societies cannot afford to waste talent. Governance, diplomacy, science, and leadership that exclude women are not only unjust, they are ineffective. What women bring to leadership is not softness or sentimentality. They bring breadth, a sensitivity to consequence, an understanding that power has human costs, that security is not only about borders and weapons, but about dignity, safety, education, and opportunity. The real challenge is not simply to add women into existing structures of power. It is to rethink what power should look like, less about domination, more about stewardship. That is not just a women's issue, it is a leadership issue. Which brings me to the university itself. A university is not merely a place where skills are acquired. It is a moral institution, whether it chooses to acknowledge this or not. It teaches its students, often implicitly, how to think about authority, difference, disagreement, and truth. India has long understood this. Nalanda and Takshashila were not just centers of instruction. They were a meeting place of ideas, cultures, and disciplines. Learning was seen as a pilgrimage, not transaction. Education at its best does not narrow the mind into technical efficiency alone. It widens it into discernment. It cultivates what our philosophical tradition called viveka, the ability to distinguish truth from noise, principle from convenience, the essential from the merely expedient. In an age saturated with information, outrage, and algorithmic amplification, this capacity is not optional, it is essential. A true university teaches students not what to think, but how to think, how to argue without anger, how to disagree without contempt, how to remain open without remaining unmoored. My message to you students is, and let me speak to you directly, you are inheriting a world that is restless and unsettled. You will be told that success lies in speed, disruption, and relentless self-promotion, in being influencers. Do not mistake these for purpose. The future belongs not merely to the clever, but to the wise. Specialize, yes, but do not become narrow. Be ambitious, but do not lose your ethical bearings. Learn to sit with difficult questions. Learn to value evidence over volume, reason over rage, empathy over certainty. Above all, remember this: democracy, freedom, and pluralism are not permanent gifts. They are daily practices. India does not only need to be a strong nation, it needs to be a just one. That task will fall to citizens who think independently, speak responsibly, and act with courage. And that responsibility belongs to you. Last but not least, and most importantly, allow me to say how deeply honored I am to be receiving this Lifetime Achievement Award today. A Lifetime Award invites reflection. No journey in public life is ever solitary. It is shaped by mentors who guide, colleagues who challenge, institutions you trust, and family and friends who provide quiet strength over many years. To receive such a recognition from your university is especially meaningful. Universities stand for continuity, for ideas that endure beyond individuals, and for learning that does not end with a career. They remind us that curiosity, openness, and ethical judgment, as I have said, must remain ethical, lifelong companions. If my work has had any coherence, it is because I have believed that leadership is ultimately about responsibility. Responsibility to truth, to dialogue, to restraint, and to the larger public good. I therefore accept this honor with gratitude and with humility, and I dedicate it to my fellow citizens. Thank you for this honor. And my warmest wishes to each and every one of you, to REVA University, on this Founders' Day. Jai Hind.